Stranger Things 6.
Our story begins in 1970 with a little girl named Francine riding with her mom down a lonely road. Her mom's freaking out because they're late, and Francine's dad doesn't handle delayed dinners well. Suddenly, Francine screams for her mom to stop the car. Her mom slams the brakes, furious because there's nothing on the road. She's about to slap Francine when a massive tree crashes down right in front of them. Francine just looks at her mom with this expression of pure distrust and says, "I told you, Mom, I told you." Fast forward to 1978 at Hawkins Laboratory. Francine is now known as 6, and she's part of Dr. Brenner's program. She's got precognition, she can predict the future, but her accuracy is terrible. She's trying to predict rock, paper, scissors between twins on the other side of the glass, and Brenner's disappointed. Her success rate is below 15%. He starts gaslighting her, telling her she's special and should be doing better. This reminds 6 of her father, who used to force her to predict lottery numbers. Every time she got it wrong, he'd storm into her room and tear into her. Just like Brenner, her dad would manipulate her by saying he and her mom deserved better because they raised her. After the failed test, orderlies escort 6 back to her room. She walks past other kids playing and asks why they get to relax while she can't. The orderlies tell her to stop asking questions or she'll upset Brenner. As she's heading back, she spots someone she never expected to see, Ricky, her old neighbor from when they moved into a better house after her dad finally won the lotto in 1976. Back then, Ricky had helped her move boxes and seemed like a sweet guy. But now, 6 notices the number on his wrist. He's 3. He's been part of the program this whole time, which means their entire friendship was planned. Ricky tries to act like everything's fine, says he missed her, but 6 is furious. She cuts him off cold, tells him to call her 6 and not use her real name in this facility. She storms into her room, slams the door, and breaks down crying. Then she punches the bookshelf in anger, and that's when she has a vision. The mark from her punch grows into an interdimensional tear, and a hand reaches through and grabs for her. She snaps back to reality, panicking, but she's learned to cover up her visions. There's a camera in her room, so she pretends she just killed a spider on the bookshelf. Brenner buys it. Later at dinner, 6 is sitting with the twins, Jamie and Marcy, when Ricky joins them. 6 confronts him in front of everyone. Ricky had been part of the program when they first met, which means their whole relationship was a setup. But Ricky defends himself, saying he was protecting her. He claims the lab is the safest place for people like them. This triggers 6's memories of her abusive home. In 1977, even after winning the lotto once, her greedy parents wanted her to predict winning horses. They were so disconnected from reality that they thought picking horse names would be easier than lottery numbers. Francine would escape to Ricky's house when things got bad. His parents were understanding and let her stay for dinner. That was precious to her back then. But now she's questioning everything. She asks Ricky if this lab really is the safest place, but he just tries to patronize her. 6 tells him she's fine, even though she's haunted by that vision of the interdimensional tear. 6 wakes up from a nightmare about the Upside Down, though she doesn't know that's what it's called yet. She decides to read in the library, and Ricky approaches her again. With the twins gone, maybe they can talk openly. 6 agrees, but makes sure to call him 3, keeping that distance between them. Ricky reveals his power. He can influence people, make them trust him more easily. 6 is livid. Even if he swears he never used his powers on her, how can she be sure? She remembers him asking her to prom, the good times they had. But then she lashes out. Even if she believes he never used his powers on her, he still lied about everything. His family, himself, his connection to the lab. Ricky asks if she would have believed him if he'd told the truth about being in a secret government program. 6 says she would have if he'd tried. She throws her book at him and storms out. On her way back, she stops to talk with the twins. She tries to subtly ask them about the outside world, but they're too young to remember much. Just a toy store, a dollhouse they wanted but couldn't have, and the toys they got instead. Dr. Brenner interrupts, taking 6 away while ordering the twins to prep for their next experiment. He scolds 6 for talking to the twins about the outside world, When she argues that they're just kids and should be allowed to be kids, Brenner coldly tells her she doesn't know their past. This triggers another memory. It was prom night, and Francine's father was having a meltdown. He screamed at her for thinking she was too good for them, insisted she needed to win more lotteries to repay them for raising her. He criticized her prom dress and the fact that she wasn't eating dinner at home anymore. Francine finally stood up for herself, mocking him for noticing anything beyond his bottle of alcohol. That's when he lost it completely. He raised his fist to hit her while calling her a freak. Francine realized this wasn't her home anymore. She grabbed Ricky and they ran away into the night. In the present, Brenner tells Six about the twins. They had an abusive household too. Their house and family burned down one night, and Jamie and Marcy were the only survivors. They were brought to the lab at a very young age. Brenner then shows Six something incredible. 11 practicing her telekinetic abilities on houses made from playing cards. 11 watches in amazement as she brings down the entire structure with her mind. Brenner reveals that 11 also has a tragic past and tells Six there are other facilities with programs like this around the world. He says there's a war coming and he'll do anything to win it. Six remembers being at the diner with Ricky on prom night. That's when she told him about her abilities, and Ricky implied he might know people who could help her control her powers. In the present, Six asks, "There are bad things coming, aren't there?" Brenner immediately asks if she's had a vision. Six quickly corrects herself, saying it's just a feeling she's had, something cold and terrifying around the corner. Brenner thinks for a moment and then shows her the new wing they've been developing. It's designed to help Six and the others amplify their powers. It'll be ready in a few weeks, and when it is, Brenner plans to change the world with it. So the time finally comes. The new wing is finished, and Six is about to step into the sensory deprivation tank. But now that she's here, she's having second thoughts. Brenner reassures her they'll be monitoring everything, and Six eventually gives in. Once in the tank, she gets flashes of images, waffles, Christmas lights, an ECG display, an enraged Brenner, the lab in the upside down, a kiss, a doorway of light, floodlights, the twins, microorganisms, and blood. Six panics and they pull her out. Brenner's excited to hear what she saw, but Six only tells him she had a vision about waffles. Maybe it's what they'll eat for breakfast, or maybe she's just hungry. For the first time, Brenner completely loses it. His enraged face reminds Six of when her father tried to force his way into Ricky's house after she ran away. Ricky's mother had calmly turned him away, then used that moment to tell Francine about Dr. Brenner, someone who could supposedly help her now that she didn't want to go home. In the present, Brenner furiously throws his papers and tells Six they'll continue the experiment after she eats until they get the results he wants. Thanks to Six, everyone gets waffles for dinner that night. When Ricky joins them, he mentions Brenner's in a terrible mood. This reminds Six of her first meeting with Brenner, how calm and collected he seemed, how she'd been convinced to join the experiment at one of her lowest points in her life. Six asks Ricky about the tank. He explains since his powers rely on speech, they're still figuring out how to adapt it for him. The twins reveal they'll be going in the tank soon too. While Ricky and Six are horrified, the twins are excited. After all, Dr. Brenner told them they were special. After dinner, as Six is being led back to her room, 3 uses his powers to send away the orderly so they can talk privately. It works, but he ends up bleeding from his nose. Six drags him to the bathroom so he can clean up. Once they're truly alone and away from cameras, Ricky forces the conversation. Six opens up about the bad feeling she's had, how her gut knows something terrible is coming. This moment brings them closer, and they end up reconciling with a kiss. The next day, Brenner brings them to observe 9's trial session after 3's little rebellion yesterday. According to Brenner, is dedicated and loyal. She believes in the experiments, and 6 and 3 should learn from her. 9 can theoretically ignite objects with her powers, so she's trying to light cotton balls doused in gasoline. 6 thinks this is way too dangerous for a child, but Brenner reassures her that 9 is too young to fully ignite fuels. This is just practice. But to 9, this isn't practice. This is her chance to prove she's powerful and special. 9 concentrates with intense focus, staring down the cotton in front of her. That's when 6 has a vision. She sees blood dripping in a cold, black void and knows something horrible is about to happen. She tries to get Brenner to stop 9, but it's too late. The lab tech with 9 starts slamming on the glass as all the blood in his body reaches boiling temperature. 9 is bleeding from her nose and eyes, but she doesn't stop until she sees smoke from the cotton balls. Then she passes out. They all end up in the medical ward. 3 and 6 are having their own meltdowns. These are just kids. They shouldn't be going through this. Brenner coerces them into leaving the twins alone. Hours later, he visits 6 in her room. 6 knows what's coming. Brenner explains the theory. 9's powers got out of control, and the heat she generated was attracted to the warmest thing in the room, which happened to be their lab tech. 6 hopes to hear the program is shutting down, but instead, Brenner says they'll continue with improved safety measures. Brenner thinks 6 is worried about her own safety, so he keeps reassuring her about safety protocols. But 6 sees through his lies now. Unfortunately, Brenner reads her expression and changes tactics. He tells 6 that if she had better control over her powers, if she'd had a clearer handle on her visions, she could have predicted what happened sooner. They could have saved the lab tech's life and prevented 9 from being injured. 6 is taken aback. For a moment, she believes him, but then realizes Brenner is just like her father, manipulating her to exploit her powers for his own gain. So, at breakfast the next day, 6 secretly passes Ricky a note that reads, "We're getting out of here." It's the night before the escape, and in her nightmares, 6 has another vision of the Upside Down. This time, a human figure with a head and a gun bursts through the door. But when she wakes, she's not scared. She's smiling. Today is the day she's finally going to be free. At breakfast, she tells Ricky today's the day. But they hit a snag when an orderly comes to take 6 away because Brenner has a session scheduled in 30 minutes. 6 tries to pretend she's not feeling well, and Ricky backs her up, but the orderly doesn't budge. He assumes the teenage lovers just want alone time and promises to give them extra time after the session. Francine takes matters into her own hands. She bites down on her tongue, spits out blood, and pretends to have a seizure. This allows Ricky to make his escape, and 6 ends up in the medical ward next to 9. Marcy is still beside her sister, and when 6 tries to talk to her, Marcy finally reveals their real names. The doctors don't expect Jaime to wake up from her coma. Marcy starts crying because she doesn't know what she'll do without her sister. 6 tells Marcy her real name, Francine, and comforts her. She tells Marcy she'll take care of her, has her lie down in the bed, and hugs the kid tightly while promising everything will be okay. While asleep, 6 has that same vision again. Waffles, Marcy, Christmas lights, and a door leading to pure light. She wakes up, tells Marcy about her plan, and asks her to say goodbye to her sister. Struggling to keep it together, Marcy does what she's told. That's when the alarms start blaring. This is the signal. 6 grabs Marcy and runs out of the medical ward. She uses her powers to navigate the facility without being caught, helping them avoid police officers. She eventually leads them to the door from her visions. But then she stumbles, and her nose starts bleeding. She's been pushing herself hard, but she doesn't care as long as it helps them escape. They walk through the door and emerge in the nearly empty parking lot of Hawkins' laboratory. Before they can head into the woods, they're held at gunpoint by police officers and the woman searching for Jane. The orderly from the facility asks the police officers to stand down after Ricky reminds him Brenner would have their skin if anything happened to his precious subjects. But then 6 has a vision, one of the officers losing his cool and shooting Ricky. So 6 gambles with her own life instead. She orders Ricky to run away with Marcy. As soon as they bolt, while 6 stands her ground with her arms raised, just like in her vision, one of the officers pulls the trigger. 6 gets shot instead of Ricky. With her last breath, she orders him to run and take care of Marcy. Brenner rushes outside, and when he sees Six, he tells her it didn't have to be this way. But Six just laughs and mocks him. After all, she finally did it. She changed the future. She changed what she saw in her visions. Francine passes away while Marcy and Ricky run into the woods, and he promises to take care of the kid just like Six had promised.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Stranger Things comics, hit that like button and subscribe to Geek Force for more comic breakdowns. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What comic should we cover next? Until then, we'll see you in the next one.